talking about, just thinking about Paul Bird. Until Wednesday at about 14 minutes past 1, Skeety's S12 was the newest World Rally car ever to arrive in Barbados. When the Virgin flight touched down with Paul Bird's 07 Focus in it, all of a sudden Skeety's car became the second newest or oldest. What do you think about the Focus? Where do you see that?
Well, I can tell you, he drove that car last weekend in Isle of Man in the Manx Rally. And he competed against the winner of the rally last year, the defending champion, Melvin Evans, who is...
Because you know Melvin, because he's worked with you on your,
yes.
on your impresses.
He's who I bought my S9 from. And he was driving his S11, which is a very quick car itself. And Melvin said that he just couldn't keep up with Paul Bird, that the car is phenomenally fast,
but
having
said that, I know that on the Friday night, because Manx ran on Friday night and Saturday, Melvin managed to get himself on the wrong tyres on Friday night.
Yes, he
screwed himself up Friday night.
He told me that. He told me he lost time on Friday night because he had the wrong tyres. But so I said, so on Saturday you were like doing fastest stage times and catching him back. He said, no, that was not the case. He was, Paul Bird was beating him in the stages, and he said you'll have a real job trying to beat him in Barbados. So I think he is the only one that has the equipment, and with the experience he gained last year driving here, I think he is the one best equipped to take the battle to Skeet.
Bearing in mind that you had a certain amount of spare time on Saturday last year, did you watch any rallying on Saturday afternoon, or were you trying to get the car glued back together?
No, I watched some. I watched a few.
Did you see Bird? I mean, what was your sort of assessment of what Bird was like?
My assessment of Bird last year was really the best assessment I got was on Sunday when I was driving against him, because he had the rally to win. He was trying to catch Chris Meek. Chris Meek was now in two-wheel drive, and he was cutting the lead down every stage. And he was trying his hardest. He was pushing that car along. And I was driving against him on Sunday, and the truth is, I think the closest he got to me on one stage was 4 seconds or something. I was beating him by 4 to 7 seconds a stage. So I wasn't, I wasn't that impressed necessarily with his speed then. But in fairness to him, it was his first time driving in Barbados, and he didn't know the roads.
And that is something that, as far as you and people like Micey and Skeety are concerned, that is something that you always sort of think about when you're driving about overseas, think about overseas drivers, because they haven't been here before, and you, so to speak, in your assessment of how they drive, allow them that little bit of needing to learn.
Take that example now and look at Chris Meek. Chris Meek was also driving in Barbados for the first time in a car that he had never driven in before in his life. Okay? And he and I were swapping stage times. So you see the difference in caliber of driver now, right? Chris Meek is a world-class driver. Colin McRae picked Chris Meek out of a group of drivers as a...
When
he saw him as a talent, and Chris lived with Colin in Scotland for 2 years and did the World Junior Championship and all that stuff, as you know. I mean, he's driven every tarmac round of the World Rally Championship several times. He's now leading the International Rally Championship. I mean, he has a testing contract with Citroen. He's driving a works drive Peugeot. What he has forgotten, none of us have ever experienced. So just using that as an example, Bird is not a Chris Meek, but he is still, I understand from my man Melvin, that he is driving the Focus very well, and the Focus is an extremely quick car. So I expect to see good performance from him.
And Birdie is a horribly competitive human being.
He's also an ex-motorcycle rider.
Yeah,
in my opinion, any man who can ride a motorbike well is, one, he's got screws loose, and two, he's very gifted.
Oh, and how? He didn't do circuit bike racing, he did motocross. He did loose surface bike racing. He won 3 motocross championships, and that has to be even worse, because if you've only got 2 wheels and you're on the loose, you've only really got one to help, haven't you?
And you're in the air most of the time too, but which is true to his name, Bird.
Oh, very good. That's why he flew his current.
Absolutely.
I normally do the jokes, you normally do the driving.
Hey.
Yeah, so look, okay, the jokes are getting worse. Hopefully the driving's getting better. So look, this year has had one or two little ups and downs for you so far. If I were to ask you to predict a top 3 in Sol Rally Barbados 2009, and you are allowed to include yourself in this list, it's not like going onto an internet forum and not being allowed to vote for yourself.
All right, I give it to you now, but I'm going to give you the prediction for King of the Hill, because
Oh,
that's
sorry,
our
we do
pace.
King of the Hill
I'll give
first.
First. I'm going to give you the prediction for King of the Hill.
Right.
Really and truly, there's no one that can predict a rally because the variables are too many. You know what I mean? Who could have predicted that Roger Hill was going to win the warm-up rally? It wouldn't have been predicted.
Excuse me, Margaret will be very upset to hear you say that.
No disrespect to Roger Hill. No, he knows that. No disrespect to Roger Hill, but anyone would have predicted that Roger Skeet or myself were going to win that rally on a pace-wise. The cars are much better than the Corolla. It would have been predicted that way, but it didn't go that way because that's rallying. So I'm going to predict King of the Hill. I figure that Skeet and Bourne are going to be 1-2.
Except the Bird's not doing King of the Hill.
So you can catch him out.
So that helps, because you might get into the top 3 then.
Yeah, could be. I put Skeet in front by about 4 seconds. And then...
We are taping this, aren't we? Yes, good.
And then the 2 S9s, driven by myself and Meek. And if I really had to predict, going by Meek's caliber of driving ability, I would give him the edge over me. Okay, and that's my top 3. But I got Skeet.
That's your top
3.5,
possibly partly a 4. But yeah, okay.
That's the top 3 there.
You looking forward to? What do you like at the beginning of a rally? Are you a sort of, I'm a rather nervous chap, or are you I'm absolutely confident, I know what I'm about to do, and I'm going to get on with it?
Truthfully, I get a serious case of the butterflies after I leave the start ramp on the way to the first stage. And once I move off the line on the first stage, it's all gone and everything is cool.
In which case, the Barbados Rally Club has done you this year an enormous favour.
No, they haven't. Now it means I'm going to have butterflies from Friday night until Saturday morning. I got to sleep with butterflies now. I can't sleep with butterflies, so I'm not going to get much sleep. So they haven't done me a favour at all. They're just taking away
There's
my
a
sleep.
cartoon in the whole idea of surfers sleeping in a bed full of butterflies. There are a lot of people here. Oh, and by the way, before I stop this conversation with, Mr. Gittins of Race 1, is Mr. Skeet in the house? If so, could he please come a little closer, because I'd like to have a conversation next with Roger Skeet to follow on from this one with Paul Bourne. But before
this might be the only time for the whole weekend that Skeet's going to come after me.
Well, oh God. I am going to have to start driving because your jokes are getting significantly better than mine. So you're a butterfly man. You're not seriously going to go to bed on Friday night now, having gone over because we're going to have, butterflies are now going to come up in our conversation on the ceremonial start.
I'll get butterflies 5 minutes before I arrive at SSA 1 on Saturday.
How long does that last? Once
5 minutes.
Once lights go, you're okay?
Gone. Even before the lights. Before the lights, they're gone.
Right.
On the approach to the SSA, I get them every time for 23 years. They won't go away. They're in there somewhere.
Too much information there, I think, sir. A lot of people here will join with me, as we are all completely impartial until we get to the end of Sunday, to wish Paul Surfer Bourne the very best of luck in Shell V-Power King of the Hill and Sol Rally Barbados 2009.
Thank you.
The best interview I've ever done with you, and I enjoyed it. Thank you. Now,
rallyfm.net